Someone who previously sent in their story said in the email that they had more stories, so I emailed back that we wanted to hear about those stories, and they sent me another story. Normal experience of my family. It's me again. I just want to say thank you so much for reading my story. I truly appreciate it. Also, I want to thank the few of the commenters on your post that fixed my mistakes. I wasn't too clear on the subject or topic of jinns, but yes, what they described is correct. I just spoke about what I knew from growing up. And I just want to put a disclaimer out there for a lot of people. When it comes down to the paranormal, there is not an educational course. A lot of people are doing their own research or being told about it from families. So don't be too cruel in the comments when it comes down to people's knowledge of paranormal. If you've wanted to hear about the other stories I have in store for you, I will go right on ahead with another one today. This one will be a big one too, so bear with me here. The encounters in general are a little bit all over the place. I'm not too sure about the timings, but I've heard about these stories from my dad when I was in the 7th grade. He would already tell me a bedtime story about his past experiences and the ones my grandma and grandpa faced. This one in particular will be about my grandfather's experience mainly. As we know, jinns and humans live side by side, but jinns are slightly more discreet and like to live in deserted places where people don't roam around too much. I would guess it's because they like their peace, and of course, they don't want to scare us and get driven away. Jinns don't like to be disturbed, bothered, or harmed in any way. If they see us as a threat, the good ones, they can and will make sure that us humans learn the lesson the hard way. This context is important for my story. My grandmother used to keep empty rooms clean because we believe jinns like to pray there. And my grandfather reinforced that onto everyone. Cleanliness is an important part of our religion. When that place is quiet, or someone is praying by themselves, or maybe in a group, jinns do like to join and pray with us. We are told not to get distracted by them and keep praying, as they can't and won't hurt us in the presence of God. Growing up, my grandfather from my dad's side had connections with jinns, aka he was friends with a few of them. Some jinns like to keep him company. I can only guess that our bloodline always had that spiritual ability to communicate with them, or connect with them on a different level than people in general. 2 of those jinns were passed down to my grandfather. They would always go everywhere with my grandfather until he got married and had his own family. To avoid scaring my grandmother or his family, the jinns decided to limit their visitation for occasions like the 2 Eid, which is the 2 major holidays in Islam. So sorry that took me a second to process. One is after the last day of Ramadan, and the other one is the day of the sacrifice of a goat, a cow, a lamb, whichever we can afford in the name of God. By the time I was only 2 or 3, my grandfather had a terrible accident. He fell on the ground and broke his hips. Later became completely bedridden. On top of that, his dementia and Parkinson's disease got worse. When the second accident happened, he broke his femur and could not get out of bed without any help from a second person. My dad would have to go help him walk, shower, go to the bathroom, almost everything. I'm so sorry to hear about this. My grandfather would tell me and cousins stories about these jinns. However, they would come to visit him every Eid to wish him Eid Mubarak. Sorry. Then vanish in a blink of an eye. Sometimes they would sit at the foot of his bed. Sometimes they would be circling around the fan and then vanish into thin air. The visitations were less than it was before, but it was still there. My grandmother would always scold him and tell him not to talk about it. She didn't want to scare us, which I later figured could have been tied to the fact that our bloodline was prone to getting dragged into the supernatural world's business pretty often. The last thing she wanted was for me and my cousin to get too curious. When I was in 6th grade, my grandmother passed away from throat cancer and pneumonia. By the time my dad got home to break the news to my grandfather, he somehow already knew. He told my dad, get the burial clothes and the beer ready. We call beer katia in our language, a bed made out of bamboo or metal to carry the corpse to the graveyard, no different from a coffin. My dad was confused, and before he could even ask how my grandfather knew, he said that, don't waste your time, and shooed him out. 2 years after that, back in 2018, one night, my dad came home at 2:30 in the morning. Typical of him. He usually came late around that time. His routine was to check on my grandfather, his diaper, to see if he needed to be changed or not, and then walk upstairs to his bedroom and head to bed. That night, however, he smelled a very sweet fragrance from the 2nd floor where my grandfather was. Before he even opened the main door, he could hear my grandfather talking from the living room. Our 2nd floor layout was kind of like this. You walk in through the main door, past the dining hall, and then comes my grandparents' room. My dad was for sure that he heard my grandfather's voice from the dining table, which wasn't supposed to be possible. He tucked that man in bed before he walked out. Our maid was sleeping on the 3rd floor with me and my little sister. When he opened the door and walked in, in, he saw my grandfather sitting on his chair and talking to someone. There was no way my grandfather would have been able to walk all the way to the dining room table without someone's help. And what's even wilder is that there was no one sitting on the other side of the chairs, but all of the chairs were pulled back as if someone was actually sitting there. And that sweet scent was still lingering in the air, although it became lighter, as if what was here a few minutes ago vanished the moment my dad walked inside. He asked my grandfather if he was going there and how he got up there, but my grandfather told him to go away and let him keep talking to the people at the table, and how it's rude to interrupt him in the middle of a conversation. My dad knew these people were none other than the jinns, and my grandfather was having some kind of meeting with them. They were the ones that helped him get out of bed and walk all the way to the table, because other than him, no one else was on that floor, not even my uncle or aunt, whom stayed in one of the bedrooms at that floor. They were on vacation. By that point, my dad had seen enough to not let this faze him too much. He brushed it off and told my grandfather to go back to bed, pulled him up from the chair like he always did, and tucked him back in. The day my grandfather died, surprisingly, I felt nothing. He died a pretty painful death. His organs failed, and he had a lot of bile and stuff inside of him, to the point that when his colon was finally cleared out, his body completely gave out, and by midnight, he had passed away. This is so fucking sad. I'm so sorry. Ever since then, the paranormal activities in the house became dull. I was aware that the jinns were mischievous and liked to scare us every now and then, but never hurt us seriously, so I was never worried about that. But it's like their joy and mischievous attitude died along with my grandfather. When I opened my third eye back in 2024, I saw things lingering in the dark for the first time. But strangely enough, I wasn't afraid of them. I was surprised, a little intimidated, but I knew they wouldn't hurt me, and they never did. They only guided me, and I believe they still protect the bloodline. I would go as far as to speculate that there could have been a spiritual pact made between jinns and my ancestors, such as my great-great-grandfather or something. The area we live in was told by a pious Hajura. I'm so sorry that I can't pronounce these words. Same as priests in our churches, they are devoted followers of our God. That the jinns that live in the area, specifically in our house, are good jinns. That one of the strongest jinns, a leader, lives there and protects the people in the house. The other stories that I have might explain what I'm talking about, but those are much bigger than this, with a lot more details. I will leave those for another time. This one was about my grandfather, and as much as I have heard and known and seen, but the other ones are about my grandmother, my dad, my aunts, and older cousins faced when they were kids. Do let me know how you like these stories. I try my best to translate these from how I know them in my language. English is my fourth language, so I really am sorry about any misunderstandings or mistakes. I love listening to your stories and how you read them out loud. It's like listening to a podcast while studying or working on a commission art for my clients. Helps me stay focused and engaged. Thank you so much for sharing my stories last time. I will try to send in the other ones soon as well when I have time. Stay safe. Love ya. Stop, you're gonna make me cry. That was so incredibly sweet, OP. Thank you again for sending in yet another delightful story. Again, very sad story. Kind of broke my heart into little itty bitty pieces. I actually have the day that my grandfather died and his name right here. So I was very close with my grandfather, and he was the reason that I believed in God. So I did get the day that he got to meet God on my chest. So it was a little near and dear to my heart. He died of cancer though, so quite different. Nonetheless, I love heartfelt stories like this. The fact that there is some type of protector in your home that you can kind of fall back on is very heartwarming, especially given the patriarch of the family died. And I absolutely love that you love listening to my stories. I love that you compared it to the podcast, because we're going to be starting a podcast. So definitely tune in for that. I'm going to obviously have a release date, etc., but I'm still getting everything situated and done with. I am only using my TikTok money to fund the podcast. So it's a little difficult because I get paid every 15th of the month, but that's why it's taking a little bit longer. Again, thank you so much. Condolences for your loss, and I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. Bye. These are drawings and stories about the drawings that someone encountered all of these entities. I recently commented on a video of yours, Hollowed Demon, saying I was going to send you some art that I did of entities I've encountered with their stories. Feel free to use all for content or whatever. Girl, you're cute. Number 1, the first entity I ever saw. When I was about 4, I was sitting on the toilet with the door open because that bathroom gave me bad vibes with the door shut, and just looked over and I saw this. I completely froze and didn't know what to do. Then it looked at me. It had no face, but its head turned to me. Then back, forward, and it didn't walk necessarily, but more like floated forward to continue going wherever it was going. Side note, I'm gonna just insert all of the pictures at the end before I do my brief synopsis, okay? Number 2, Sarah. I originally met Sarah in what I now know as the astral plane, but as a kid, I thought it was a weird dream meeting a little girl in my house. This piece is when I woke up in the middle of the night. I slept with the TV on for light and noise to drown out the whispers I hear or heard 24/7 before learning to tune it out. To my TV on, just static, and it was in the middle of my room, Sarah, but she was different. It's like she was made of static herself, and her mouth was wide open and pitch black, along with large black holes where her eyes used to be. I knew if I paid her any mind, that's when anything bad might happen. So I pretended not to notice and rolled over and covered my head with the blanket and fell back asleep. Number 3, Michael. This one sounds kind of long and would sound entirely delulu if other people weren't involved or witnesses to any of it. I was 11 and I had a friend on IMVU who was able to remote view me. That's so fucking funny. I loved IMVU as a kid. We definitely had no business being on that shit. Had no camera on my computer, and I tested her asking what color my walls were, and she was able to see each wall as a different color and said which wall was that color. Of course I believed her. That's scarier than shit because people can actually remotely access your camera, so that made me exceptionally scared for this story. She asked who the guy was in my room. Nobody was there, of course. Over a week or so, I kept mindlessly scribbling Michael over and over without thinking anything of it. I then had a dream soon after about being in a CD store, but the only CD they had was Black Veil Bride, Set the World on Fire, my fave album at the time, and still my fave Black Veil Bride album, LMAO. And I was digging through this bin trying to find anything else, and I seen an all-white CD case with a guy on it. Okay, let's be real, Andy Biersack back in the day. Back in the day, okay? I'm just saying. Similar to what I drew, it's not exact, it's hard to draw spirits. And the album title was I'm In You, and I woke up thinking I summoned an incubus from reading too many of those stories on ghost story websites. I was a weird kid and thought it was hot. A couple years later, my friends saw some scratches on my back in a weird symbol-shaped thing. I'm gonna try to type it out. It's like a 2 lines right here and then a line. So like line, 2 lines. That's what she wrote out. And eventually, more years later in high school, my friend Bruce, who was into the occult, confirmed it was Michael who had scratched my back like that. He had a spiritual attachment to me, and we tried multiple times to break it, but he just stayed around. Left is when he's angry, right is him normally. I eventually got rid of him, kind of, I think. I haven't had an encounter in almost 4 or 5 years now. I'm 27. Girl, that's scary. There's more detail, but this is already super jumbled and wild. Number 4. Demon Daughter. When I was 16, I had a nightmare with a plot summary to Rosemary's Baby, apparently. I've never seen that movie even still, but essentially I was a journalist writing a story on a woman who miscarried in a hospital, and through dream logic, I was that lady suddenly. I was giving birth, and afterwards they showed me this white alien-looking thing, and I started screaming that that was a demon and not my baby. Side note, I've never wanted children and have zero maternal instincts, so this nightmare was a nightmare on many levels. Same. I was into a white room and see the left picture, a little demon alien looking girl. I start screaming, she's not my kid, she's a demon, etc., etc. And she smiled at me and said, "It's okay, mommy. I still love you." Oh, hell no. And lunged at me, and then I woke up. Years later, at 22, I meet her again in another nightmare, but she's a little older now, like an older teenager, 17, 18 maybe. We're in some hotel room watching TV, and I'm trying to apologize for being so rude the last time I saw her, and not having beef between us. Girl, we can have fucking beef. We can keep that beef. I'm good. She seems chill about it, and all seems well, until she stabbed me in the middle of my back. I could feel it in my spine. It was so vivid. I still felt it as I woke up, gasping, trying to scream, but the breath was taken out of me. I could hear her laughing until the sleep paralysis was over, and I haven't seen her since. Number 5, don't do schmugs. Trigger warning, schmug use. At 19, I got into bed after coming down off some white Me and a friend had been doing that night, and I was trying to relax and get into the sleep mode. I look around my room and notice something by my door, but chalk it up to jackets hanging on an over-the-door coat rack. When I realized I didn't have one, and the entire area shouldn't have anything there. Then it's at the end of my bed, and I'm shaking so hard I can barely grab the top of my blanket to start covering my head. But as I do, it kept getting closer until the blanket was at the bottom of my vision, and its face was barely a foot away from mine. And I finally got the blanket over my head and immediately passed out, but woke back up seconds later, it seemed like. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I was going to throw up, and whatever was there wasn't there anymore. Sorry if this is all hard to read. I'm typing off my phone and trying to be fast because I'm about to go to bed, and if I don't send this now, I'll forget. Hopefully these are interesting. I've witnessed a lot of spiritual stuff through my life, and these are just some highlights. Pictures now. Right, so those pictures are terrifying. If I saw any of that shit, I'd be the fuck out of there straight up. OP, thank you so much for sending this in. I remember your comment and I remember talking to you about this. I'm so excited that you sent them. As far as these fucking horrifying pictures, so the one in red with the fingernails, no. It's a no from me, okay? It's a no. The little girl in the creepy fucking outfit with the black eyes and the black mouth, fuck no, girl. Also, what did you use to draw these? Because this ain't just like the simple paint. You know what I mean? The third picture, that's like the thing that's like an alien, but also the teenage girl. She's real cute as an like actual human, but the opposite one where she's all like real scary right there, no. Count me the fuck out. Count me out. The one that looks like the literal fucking Grudge, bitch, the way that it makes my heart beat like I'm about to fucking die, impending doom immediately. I cannot handle it. And the way that you just have like these cute little sparkles in between, like it's okay. There's some cute little sparkle. No. And then this last one of the face that was away from your face, the eyeballs, the eyes, girl. If I experienced any of this shit, the way that I would be like, actually, take me out of this world. Take me out to the ball game, because I don't want to fucking be here, bitch. This is fucking scarier than shit. Again, thank you so much for sending these in. I am absolutely going to be having some nightmares tonight because that's real scary. I would like to know what application you used to draw these lovely photos, though, because you did fantastic. Artiste, yes you are. And I love you guys. I hope you have a fabulous freaking day. Today's a good day. If you don't know what day I'm filming this on Thursday, and somebody just got fired, and I love that for us. Anyways, I love you guys, and I hope you're having a great day because that made my day. Bye. I don't believe in coincidences. I will say this, I will die on this hill. I don't believe in coincidences. Before I begin, one important thing for context. In India, families commonly live together in the same house across generations. Even after getting jobs or growing older, people usually do not move away. Parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, and children often live under the same roof. With that in mind, I want to tell you a story clearly without panic or exaggeration. Just the truth as it happened. The house. Our house was completed in 2018. It had 6 floors. Ground to 4th floor, joint family members. 1st floor, my grandmother. 5th floor, where my parents and I live. 6th floor, the rooftop. Before construction even began, a local Hindu priest, Baba, warned my family, if you build this house, unpleasant and harmful things will happen. At the time, no one fully believed him. The pattern begins. After the house was built, things started happening, one year after another. 2019, my grandfather died due to dengue. 2020, my aunt, my father's brother's wife, who lived in the same house, died due to diabetes. 2 deaths, 2 consecutive years, same house. Injuries follow. Year 3, my father fractured his ankle, and this happened when we weren't even living in the house, but in another state. Year 4, another aunt, again my father's brother's wife, fractured her leg. By now, everyone in the family started noticing a pattern. The crash. My cousin, the son of the aunt who died, got into a major car accident. The car was completely wrecked. A pole smashed through the windshield. It was a miracle that he survived. Later, a priest told him, Do not travel on roads at night. There are negative energies active at night. The only reason he survived was because his mother protected him. Her spirit intervened and saved his life. That stuck with him. The flickering lights. A few weeks later, my mother experienced something herself. She was standing at my grandparents' front doorstep, talking to her. Inside the living room behind them, the lights began to flicker on and off. My mother assumed it was my father's sister, who is mentally unwell and often behaves unpredictably. She asked my grandmother, "Is that her?" My grandmother immediately replied, "Don't mention it. Don't give it attention." That response scared my mother. Curious and uneasy, she went inside to check. The moment she stepped in, the lights stopped flickering. They stayed on. No one was there. No one was near the switch. No one could have run away. There was no explanation. When I went up there myself, when the sounds kept happening between 11 and 1 a.m., curiosity got the better of me. One night at around 11:30 p.m., I went up to the rooftop myself, not out of bravery, but to put an end to my own curiosity. The moment I stepped onto the rooftop, there was nothing. No movement, no people, nothing but air. I didn't just glance around. I checked the entire rooftop area carefully to make sure no one could be hiding anywhere. There was no one there. After that, I went back downstairs immediately. The next day, I asked my mother if she had heard the sounds too. She said yes. I asked her playfully, "Should I go up there?" She replied firmly, "Never go up there." I never told her that I already had. What still happens? To this day, things continue. We hear footsteps, walking, and running sounds, especially late at night. I have personally recorded a video where these sounds are clearly audible. With earphones on, you can hear thuds like something moving above us. We have never seen anything with our naked eyes. However, a white, cloudy figure was captured only in our CCTV camera on the ground floor near the garage area. Nothing aggressive, nothing visible in person, just a presence. And the worst part? These sounds usually happen between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. Why I'm sharing this. I'm not writing this to scare anyone. I'm writing this because multiple events over multiple years in the same building affecting different people in different ways. At some point, coincidence stops feeling like coincidence. There is something about this house, and whatever it is, it hasn't left. OP, thank you so much for sending this in. I did see that you actually sent this twice. I don't know how I missed the first one, but when I was searching for a different video, I found both of your emails. So I'm so sorry that you had to send it twice. It was only a few months apart, but still, I apologize. However, I mean, I stopped believing in coincidences at a very, very young age. And I don't know what it was that made me not believe in coincidences. Something told me that they just weren't real and things happen in consecutive order like this for a reason. I'm so sorry for all of the losses, all of the pain, all of the suffering, all the confusion, curiosities, and the things that have consistently happened. And while I understand that you have this culture where your generations continue to grow in the same area, so that's probably why you guys haven't left. I myself probably would have left, especially with the amount of loss that you've encountered. It's very sad and heartbreaking, and I really hope that you're able to leave this long, lengthy line of dangerous curiosity. Absolutely not. I think there is a child ghost living in my mom's house. If y'all fucking know me, you know that we don't handle children ghosts well here, okay? Hi, I saw your videos and thought I'd share some of my experiences. They aren't horror story scary, but I think they're interesting enough to share. I don't really want my name or age to be shared for personal reasons. Anyways, I'm a mother to a baby boy, and I moved in with my mom when I got pregnant. Around this time, I never had saw or heard scary things in my mom's house. Weirdly enough, when I moved in, that's when it all started. My boyfriend, father of the baby, also had moved with me, so we were together, experiencing some things such as hearing noises at night, feeling like we were watched from my closet. The door is broken, so no hope in closing it to ease our minds. One day I was coming home from an appointment with him, and I see my youngest brother run into my sister's room along with my sister. Immediately I holler and ask why they weren't in school, and I go to her room and only see my brother. Confused, obviously, I ask and look for my sister, and my brother says she's at school. Now I'm worried and scared because I saw them run into there together. Same height as my sister too. I brush it off, even though I can't help but wonder who I could have seen if it wasn't my sister, because I know what I saw, right? Another time, I'm sleeping and my boyfriend is up early putting together a puzzle. I wake up to my boyfriend freaking out, telling me he saw a puzzle piece move on its own towards him. No window was open, it was only him, and he couldn't have blown it away by himself accidentally. I was tired and brushed it off. Time passed and I moved out of my mom's. Nothing weird happens until I move back. This time, things are moving on their own, like toys falling from places I know I placed securely. A knife dropped on the floor when I know it was nowhere near the edge. My baby's toys would move. I shit you not, I heard a child's voice say hello to me when I was up late in the kitchen. Too young to sound like my youngest brother and too old to sound like my sister, so I couldn't tell who it was, even when everyone was asleep. More months pass of shoes falling, my siblings seeing shadows. This one night, I'm putting my baby to bed, and I thought he was sleeping, but I hear him laughing at nothing. The room was dark. He had no toys near him, and he was staring up. It freaked me out bad, and I stayed awake until he fell asleep. I moved out after. I hadn't had anything weird happen since, and it's unsettling how active it is at my mom's house. I have a little story to tell as well, if you'd like to hear. It's more weird than scary. I had a night out with a few months ago, and I got too drunk at a friend's house a bit away from my mom's house and asked my friend to walk me home. Mind you, I don't live in a city or a town. I live up a hill with houses arranged in cul-de-sacs, and around is trees, wildlife, and dirt. Side note, unfortunately, young teens have lost their lives in these areas from being too drunk and freezing until passing in the past, so you might see where this is going. I remember bits and pieces, but when we were close to my mom's place, something in me told me to turn around. So I did, and I saw a white, glowing, tall figure about away from us. It didn't look scary. It was moving slow, and it looked calm. I asked my friend if they saw it too, and they got scared and said no, so we kept going. I remember looking back for a second time, and it was still moving slowly, calmly, and glowing. I don't know what it was, and still don't know if it was good or bad. I'm hoping it wasn't a lost soul in the afterlife because someone had passed on that road a year prior. Other than that, I've seen other things, but this is really long already. I hope you liked it, even though it wasn't as interesting. I hope you have a good day, and I love your videos. XOXO. Okay, so we do not judge in length of stories. Of course, we want to hear all of the stories. Thank you, OP, for sending this in. I think pretty much everywhere has kind of like a loss of life when it comes down to roads. Like, I don't feel like there's a single road that we could just drive on that not a single person has crashed or something hasn't happened in order to lose a life. However, when it is young people losing their lives in scenarios where they are somehow intoxicated, I feel like that can cause lost souls, like you mentioned. So it definitely could have been that. As far as the creepiness going on in your mom's house, why haven't we moved yet? Why hasn't mom moved yet? The second I saw little kids running around that were mimicking my younger siblings, I'd be like, Mom, hey, actually, excuse me, I think we need to fucking pack, okay? Thank you so much for your kind words. It truly means the absolute fucking world to me. I cannot express that enough. When you guys tell me how much you love my videos or how helpful they are to you to even pass time, it is like the boost of confidence that I need to continue doing what I'm doing. I will say that until I'm in my fucking grave. And I definitely don't think that all of these instances are coincidences. There's definitely something in your mom's house. There's definitely something going on there. I love you guys. I hope you have a great stinking freaking day. Yeah, it's Friday when I'm filming this, and I'm so excited that I don't have to come to work tomorrow. Love you. Bye. Titled Toby. Hi Riley, I really enjoy your channel and watching your content. I wanted to share a story with you for you to consider reading with your viewers. Please keep me anonymous if you choose to share this story. This is a long story with some setup, so please bear with me. I used to pet sit for a family in Fresno, California. I was usually at the house for a week at a time or more. The house was big, 2 stories with 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. 2 of the bedrooms were upstairs and shared a bathroom that could only be accessed through the bedrooms. The office in the master bedroom with bathroom was downstairs with a guest bathroom in between the 2 rooms. The family asked me to put a bar across the doors at night and always had security cameras on motion detectors because their home had been broken into not long before these stories. They had 1 wonderful little dog and 2 indoor cats. The first time I walked through the house, I got creepy vibes in the office, but this was probably because this was where they stored all of the security videos, and I felt vulnerable thinking about being on video. This room was usually locked. I got very creepy vibes when they walked me through the nursery of their grandchildren, which was one of the rooms upstairs. I was meant to stay in the guest bedroom across from the nursery. Again, these rooms shared a bathroom. I always kept the doors to the nursery closed and locked when I was there. When my now husband walked through it with me, he also mentioned how creepy the nursery was, even though I had never mentioned to him that it made me uncomfortable. The dog often sat at the bottom of the stairs and looked at the top of the stairs for long periods of time, occasionally barking. Nothing was ever there. The first time I stayed there, I was taking a shower in the bathroom upstairs. I didn't like how empty and big the house felt, so I turned the TV volume up pretty loud while I was in the shower to help fill the space. That's funny, I do that too. My house isn't even that big. After my shower, I was watching the TV while sitting on a leather couch. I kept hearing popping noises and figured it was the couch making noise as it settled under my weight. I realized that the noise was coming from the direction of the TV and not the couch, so I walked over towards the entertainment center. As soon as I put my head down near the speaker, the popping sound stopped and never started again. The next morning, I woke up and one light was turned on. It was the light next to the top of the stairs. Maybe the cat stepped on the switch. It was a touchpad on the hall table. But you have to hold the switch for about 5 seconds for the light to turn on, so the cats were unlikely to have done it. One day, when I was in the guest bathroom downstairs, I read the signs they had next to the soap. It was drafted like a hotel note, which was cute at first. Enjoy your stay, complimentary soaps, etc., until the end, which said, if you hear or see anything fall from the top of the stairs, please ignore it. That's weird. That's not something that you can just buy off of Amazon. I found this weird, but thought maybe they were joking and it was a nice paid break from my roommates, so I kept the job. I made the mistake of making small jokes about the little incidents that were happening and nicknamed the entity Toby. I know better now, but then me was young and reckless and had just watched the third Paranormal Activity movie, which I know makes my choice even dumber. Honestly, it's still kind of funny. On to the story. The second or third time I stayed at the house, the family told me their son-in-law would be there on his way traveling through the city. They assured me I would likely not see him much and he would be gone in the morning. In the middle of the night, I woke up to the sound of the garage door rolling up. The garage door was below the room I slept in. I rolled over to fall back asleep because I thought it was the son-in-law coming home, but then remembered I had barred the garage door shut so he wouldn't be able to get in. I hurried to the door, took the bar off, and opened the door, but the garage door roll was down and both cars were cooled to the touch. I went back inside and locked myself in the bathroom upstairs while I texted the family to find out if it was the son-in-law. But he had come in through the front door and had planned more than an hour before and was now asleep. I don't know why, but I'm having like super deja vu vibes right now. I feel like I've read this before. I didn't have something weird happen every time I stayed with them, but the house always made me feel as if I was being watched, which I attributed to the security cameras, as I mentioned. The dog continued to bark and stare at the top of the stairs, and weird noises were common, but again, it was a big house with indoor cats. I recognized after the garage door that likely this house was haunted, but the entity didn't seem malicious, so I continued to pet sit for them every few months. The final event happened on my last stay at the house. Nothing felt different than any time before, but that changed on the last night I was there. When I rolled over to go to sleep, I could see a shadow figure standing in the hallway between the room and the bathroom. It was huge, probably 7 feet high and wide like a football player. It felt male and mean. I quickly rolled over and pretended like I didn't see it, figuring if I showed fear or paid attention to it, that it would only fuel whatever was happening. Somehow, I fell asleep and nothing more happened that night. I never asked the family about the weird events in the house. I have had a few unexplainable events happen in other places I have lived, but nothing to this degree. I have always believed in the paranormal and wondered what I would do if I really felt like I was in a haunted house. I don't know if I would have stayed long if I lived at this house instead of only visiting occasionally. I'm happy to share those, mostly just weird things like moving objects, but some actual scary events too. Thank you for your time reading and considering my story. Honestly, I really feel like I've read this story before. I don't know, I need to go back and like search some keywords to see if I have, because I really feel like we've addressed this story and we've read this story. There's a lot that's ringing to me, especially the garage door, because I specifically remember reading something. This is so weird. Hold on. Okay, so something about me, every time I read a story, I don't delete it because if I ever need to fall back on a story, I want to be able to have them. So what I do when I read a story is I screenshot it and then I star the story. And I just did some keyword searches to see if I've received a story like this, and I can't find anything similar to this story, but I swear, we have read something like this, have we not? People that have been here for over a year, tell me. I personally think that it's hilarious that you named it Toby, and with the paranormal movie, the actual demon being named Toby, that's so funny to me. Not the experience itself, but the fact that you named it that's what makes it funny. And I feel like I have said that before. I am having such strong deja vu. I'm going to tell you what, okay? I'm going to do a little bit more digging. I'm going to see if I can find anything similar to this story. I feel like someone told a story that is so incredibly similar to this. I wonder if the person who dog sat after you sent this in as a story, and now you are sending it in as the person who first experienced it. I truly, you guys, I feel like I fucking read this story before. I feel like something is not right. This is super deja vu. I have read this before. I read this before. Something's not right. This story was literally just sent to me, and I have to apologize to everyone that I haven't read your stories yet because I was really lazy. I'm not gonna fucking lie to you. It's a character flaw. I'm sorry. I was really lazy and needed to read some stories, so I screenshotted some stories that were up towards the top. So this was recently sent in, but I don't have any other emails from this person. So who the fuck sent me a story similar to this? Like, someone did. I have to find it. I have to. Super crazy. I will let you guys know. This story is insane. The notes that were left is insane. I absolutely would have fucking asked the owners of the house. My curiosity would kill this fucking cat for sure. I've read this. You guys, deja vu is clicking so fucking hard. Someone else experienced something similar or experienced the same thing in this house. I'm telling you, I have read this story. I will get back to you on this. I love you, and I hope you have a great day. I'm literally gonna dig right fucking now. Bye.